Well, good morning. Our ship has moved during the night to a different spot on the river, so we are really city center now. So we were kind of down the river a bit, and now we are right in the middle of everything. We're right by the Liberty Bridge, right across from the Citadel. So we have a completely different view waking up this morning than we did when we went to sleep last night. And now we are going out for tour number 1 of the day, which is on the Buda side. We've got a Buda Castle tour. Then we're going to come back, and this afternoon we have a Pest side tour. So it's going to be a very busy day. Let's get going. It is a beautiful, crisp 41 degrees outside. There is unlimited, well, sort of limited, Diet Coke in my mini fridge. So I grabbed one to go because I need caffeine this morning since I'm not a coffee drinker. And now we have to go find the red paddle for our bus tour that'll take us across to the Buda Castle, and then we do walking from there. Yeah, you can see the Citadel behind me over there. That was the view for breakfast. So whenever we went down for breakfast, we sat on, I guess it's the port side. I think we're on starboard. Not sure exactly. Yeah, we're on starboard, so that was the port side. So we had a view of the Citadel for breakfast. Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's chilly. I don't mind chilly. So all of your excursions are included whenever you do a river cruise. So you choose the excursion you want, and then the morning of, you go and you pick a color. So if there's, 150 people on board and 100 people are doing the same tour, they don't want 100 people in the same group. So there's 3 different colors for the tour that we're doing. We chose red, so we come out here, look at the buses, look for the red paddle, and that's where we go. We have arrived off the bus at the beginning of our walking tour. I've got my earpiece in. We're going to follow our tour guide now. Where we are, these statues are dating 1514. So we're in the definitely older part of the city. We're going up into Buda Castle. I know the rest will be a surprise for me.
Matthias finally died in 1490. Do you know what happened 2 years later? 1492? America was discovered. So just to place in the history a little bit Matthias. And after that, there was a decline in the country, a slow decline. And in 1541, the Ottomans were able to occupy Buda. There was the royal castle right here. And this column was part of the king's garden originally. And the royal castle could be found over there. Nowadays, you can find the walls of that big royal castle.
So we have made our way up to not the top of the castle, but the top level to where you can see out into Buda, and now the rest of our group is here. So this area right here is the city overlook. We are going up the stairs now into the palace area. So when you're doing this tour, be prepared. There are lots of stairs. So this fountain behind me was designed as one of the famous fountains in the world, equivalent to the Trevi Fountain in Italy. But this is Matthias, the king, the most famous king here in Budapest. He sits at the top of his fountain. So the palace here dates very, very far back. It was destroyed in wars over the years, and there are parts that are from the 15th century. Then much was done later than that, and now everything's being renovated. So section by section, this palace is being renovated, and they're trying to get it back to what it originally looked like, because when the Russians were in occupancy, they modernized it in the 70s, made it ugly, so now they're coming in and fixing all of that. So this is what the palace looked like before World War II and what they're trying to get it back to now. So the crow holding the ring above the castle gates is the symbol of Matthias, the king that died in 1490, that was still to this date the most famous king of Budapest. So this building behind me is the presidential palace. The president is a symbolic figure. He doesn't actually run the country. The prime minister does. So right next to that building is the monastery, which is the office and home of the prime minister. been a very interesting walking tour so far. We're moving fast, a lot of information coming at us, but basically a lot of the castle area is under construction right now. They're bringing it back to what it originally looked like, because when the Soviets came in after after the Cold War, after World War II, they made a lot of modernizations that don't really look good. So they're now going in and fixing everything back to what it originally looked like. So a lot of construction. In a couple of years, that construction will be done, and when you come to Budapest, you're going to get that full impression. So I'm looking forward to coming back in a couple of years and seeing the final product. But we are now at Matthias Church, or Matthias Cathedral. The roof here is over 100-year-old tile roof, and each tile is different colors. It's absolutely beautiful. Our guide's getting tickets right now so we can go inside and see the interior of the church. Beautiful day. Man, it was 41 degrees when we got off the ship. It's definitely warmed up, maybe 50-ish, but I'm super comfortable, warm at times. So March is not a bad time to come to Europe, to Hungary. This church has a very long history. It was originally built in the Middle Ages, and it has been destroyed and rebuilt and repurposed over the years. So at one point, it was even a mosque for about 150 years when the Ottomans were in control. Then it was rebuilt in the 16th century in a Byzantine style, and then in the 19th century, they came back in and the architect said, let's get it back to where it originally looked like, and it's been refurbished in the Gothic style. So from the inside, you can see, especially he showed us a window, and the window's not in the center of the wall. They made it look good. They put circles around it, but from the outside, he said the window is centered in the wall. So over the years and the layers that have gone on top of it have changed the look of the church, but there has been a church here since the Middle Ages. So right next to the church is the Fisherman's Bastion. So this is the best overlook in Budapest. So we're on the Buda side, looking over to the Pest side. We can see the Parliament building. We can see all of the monuments, the St. Stephen's Basilica. We can see our cruise ship from here, a little bit down the river there. But absolutely amazing views. And this is named one of the top 10 viewpoints in Europe, right here where we're standing. It's absolutely beautiful. So why is it called Fisherman's Bastion? Because we're kind of far up from the river, but this is where the Fisherman's Market was back in the Middle Ages, and then the name just kind of stuck. So this whole area was named Fisherman's Bastion. This is where the fishermen would bring their catch for the day, and it was a farmer's market or a fisherman's market, and people could come and buy the fish. And then it became the highest point of the city and the most important part of the city, and that's why the church was built here and the castle was built here, because it's the highest point looking down on everything else. What I do like about these tours is you've got the guided portion where you have a local who knows the area, knows the landmarks, and can give you the history, and then you have some free time. So we've got about 45 minutes now just to explore this area on our own, but we know what everything's called, we know where everything is, and we can wander a little bit, and then we have a meeting point back over here to meet up our guide and then move on from there. So he told us something interesting about the Parliament building. It is a very large, elaborate building, and this is not a very big country. So he said size-wise in America, it compares to the state of Kentucky. So not very big for that big of a Parliament building. But when it was constructed, Hungary was about 3 times larger than it is now, and had many, many more people. So there was more people to govern. Also back then, there was a monarchy, and there was a House of Lords and a House of Commons. Now the monarchy is gone. It's a democratic society, and the elected officials still run the parliament, and the prime minister runs the country. There's a little tiny grocery store right here on the square. So we went in search of chimney cakes, and there is a place that does chimney cakes, and they're closed. I don't know if it's off season or what, but they're closed. So right across the street, I was like, what is that? And I thought it was just a cafe, and I came in and it's a whole grocery store. So it's got all local things. Every label is in Hungarian or another language that I can't read, but they do have lots of paprika in here, which we already have our paprika paste from our food tour yesterday, but I love checking out foreign grocery stores. This is so cool. So this wine here is this grape that's grown here in Hungary. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name, but our tour guide was saying that this in Hungary is just as famous as a Burgundy or a Bordeaux would be in France, and that you can come. It's a higher end wine. It's a fancy grape, very, very sweet, and you can find it everywhere in Hungary. These have grabbed my attention. I think I'm going to get them. All right, so I got paprika chips, a Coke Zero, but it is in, I don't know if that's Hungarian or what, but it's not in English. I got these wafer cookies and Milkas, which are like a Cadbury cream egg, which I love the UK version and the American Hershey version. I don't know where Milka's from. I know it's not Hungarian, but still they look good. So first off, I am super curious to try paprika chips, because I know these are Hungarian. They're not as like knock you off as like that paprika paste was that we put in our goulash yesterday. It was really, really spicy. These are subtle. Yeah, because I put it on the brush I cooked. My chips got knocked over by the wind. I love these little wafer cookies. Those are really good. I love trying snacks in other countries. Go ahead, Pigeon. Have at it. And of course we have to check out the souvenir shop. I mean, there's one right here next to the big church where we have to meet. We've got about 10 more minutes. Let's go check it out. Magnets! Ooh, I like these up here. Those are really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and get some paprika here, both me and Sarah are, and we were asking, how do you tell if it's smoked? And the lady came over, she goes, well, if it's got a sweet lady, it's sweet. If it's got a hot man, it's hot and smoky. So we're getting one of each, one sweet, one smoked, because I'm bringing paprika home and not sure who all I'm gonna share it with, but I wanna have enough. Okay, we're back with our guide. We're heading back through the Buda Castle area, back to our bus, heading back to the ship now. Let me just say that the views up there are so much more spectacular in person than my camera will ever capture, because I took pictures, I took video, and I looked back at them, and they're pretty, but it's nothing like your eye can see. All of this. That's why I love travel so very, very much, because you can see it in someone else's pictures, you can see it in someone else's video, but until you experience it for yourself, it's like nothing else. Tour number 1 is over. They brought us back to the ship. We dropped a few things off. It got kind of warm, so I took off my really hot shoes and I'm back on flip-flops. So we could have had lunch on the ship, but we're going to the market instead. The market is a 9-minute walk from our ship, and we are in search of local food, chimney cakes, and whatever else we can find there. This is what's so cool about these river cruises, is that the ships can dock right in city center, and just a few minute quick walk, and here we are at the market. And markets in any city is one of my absolute favorite things to do, because there's lots of food vendors. You can try the local foods, drinks, buy some souvenirs, whatever you want. There's usually local handmade items. I always like to look at those. So we're here, let's go check it out. This is a great market. This is called Central Market Hall, It's huge. It's a massive building. Been here for a very long time. Oh my gosh, there's stalls on the bottom floor, there's stalls on an upper floor. I can already see food vendors, lots of local handmade items. Oh my god, that smells amazing. This is what I'm smelling. I might have to get one of those. I am in heaven right now. I want everything. I want sausages. I want honey. I want chocolates. I want the bread. I want the cheese. Not the vegetables. Don't have any way to get vegetables home. Things that'll keep. Definitely have to get Jason some Hungarian sausage. He'll like that. Maybe some cheese. I wonder if I can get cheese home. So upstairs is where the prepared food is. There's a sit-down restaurant, and then there's all these food booths. We decided we enjoyed the langos so much yesterday that we wanted to have it again, and this is like even more than what we had yesterday. So yesterday it was just the sour cream, garlic, and cheese. Today we've got like arugula at the bottom, 2 different types of Hungarian cheese, fresh paprikas on it, like peppers, and salami. I don't think I can eat this whole thing, but I'm surely gonna try. This is in no way gonna be ladylike because I barely got it cut in half. So we're just gonna pick this up like this and dig in. Yum!
The paprika paste on it.
The main difference in the last one and this one is 2 things. One, there's paprika paste on here, so you've got that fire almost like we had in the goulash yesterday. But these salamis are amazing. Me and Sarah totally should have split one because we got one each, and they're ginormous. But cheers, we're gonna eat. I ate 2 bites, over 50% of my thing. I'm not going to show you the end product because it's a hot mess. But thank God Sarah had wet wipes because that paprika paste gets all over your fingers when you're trying to put your toppings back on your langos. But we had to stop eating because we have to save room for chimney cakes because there is a stall downstairs making chimney cakes. We weren't able to get one over by the castle, so we're definitely getting one here once our fingers are clean. So the other half of the upstairs is basically souvenir world. I mean, anything you could imagine that has Budapest on it, you're gonna find here. Magnets, coffee mugs, t-shirts, Christmas ornaments, and then the beautiful handmade lace and things like that. So really cool stuff up here. Haven't found anything I gotta buy just yet, but some neat stuff. Okay, I think I'm gonna make Jason very happy. I just got him a tube of beef salami and pork salami. So it was 6,000 huff for the beef and 2,000 for the pork. So I did not just spend $8,000 on salami. I spent 8,000 huff, which I'm not sure exactly what that converts to, but it smells amazing. And after I just had that salami on the langos, I had to get some to take home. Jason's gonna love this. Now it is time for a chimney cake. Yep, Sarah's got hers already. My turn. I got a cinnamon chimney cake filled with Nutella. Yum. That's so good. Okay, so picture it. Cooked dough. Is it fried? Fried, or it's like a rotisserie type cooked, but then it's rolled in cinnamon and sugar, and then they put Nutella all on the inside. That is yum. So the chimney starts coming unrolled as you eat it. And look, I have Nutella on my mouth, on my nose. It is afternoon now, and it is time for our second tour of the day on the Pest side. So just, I've noticed, being here, the Buda side is very, very hilly. That's where, you know, the high spots are, you know, where the castle was, where the Fisherman's Basin was, Bastion was, sorry, said that wrong. The Pest side is very, very flat, and I find that so interesting. How many times have you been on a river and one side is very hilly and one side is very flat? I've noticed that many times, like for instance, we live in Louisiana, so crossing from Louisiana into Mississippi, at Vicksburg, the Louisiana part's very, very flat. You go into Vicksburg and it's very hilly. And then where I live in Alexandria, Louisiana, the Alexandria side's very flat. You cross the bridge into Pineville and it's very hilly. So that's very interesting that the landscape is like that. I'd love to know why. So our first stop here is the Shoe Memorial. So this was done by a local sculptor who took shoes from World War II time and cast them in bronze to replicate what was done here. So the Jews of Hungary, of Budapest, were brought here to the River Danube, and they were made to take off their shoes and their coats in the dead of winter, and they were shot and thrown into the Danube. So this is a terrible thing that happened, and it's here to remind people of atrocity so they don't happen again. So the city of Budapest has only been around for about 150 years. Prior to that, the capital of Hungary was Buda, just the city across the river. And then they decided that it was growing, they needed a bigger capital city, and they combined three cities, Budapest and another city a little bit to the north, all into one Budapest. So the architecture on the Buda side is much, much older. It dates back to medieval times, where everything on the Pest side is a bit newer, because once it became one city, they decided they needed more on this side, so they started building like crazy. So late 1800s, early 1900s is when most of these buildings went up. There are some older buildings, but that's when, for instance, the Parliament building and many of the more famous buildings on the Pest side were built. And we're heading toward the Parliament building right now. So we've made it over to the Parliament building. This is the third largest Parliament building in the world. Very small country Hungary is, but has such a large Parliament. But this was built at a different time when Hungary was a bigger country. So it was built, it took 17 years to build this building from start to completion. It was finished in 1904. So you can see from that time to now how much has happened here in this country to change the need for the Parliament. There's no more House of Lords anymore. The House of Commons is the only one that's still active. So the House of Lords acts as that's the part that you can tour. You can't tour House of Commons because that's where the MPs are in session. So as wars were lost and Hungary was on the losing part of the wars, they had to give land to the winners. So 2/3 of the country of Hungary is gone now. It used to be Romania, Slovakia, and now those are separate countries. It's no longer part of Hungary. So at the time that the Parliament was built, all of that was part of this country. The architecture on the Pest side is considered eclectic because it is a mix of many different styles. The Parliament building itself is called eclectic or neo-Gothic because most of the building itself has the points that are very Gothic, but there is a dome, and the true Gothic style does not have a dome, so that's why it's got a different style called neo-Gothic. I hope I'm getting all this right. I think I am. So our tour guide has just given us some homework. She said that we need to go watch the movie Spy with Melissa McCarthy. She said it was filmed here in Budapest, a lot in this area right here, and the ending scene, there's a concert with 50 Cent, and it was filmed in the Justice Palace right across the street. So our last stop of the Budapest tour is here in Hero Square, and everything in this area was built in, around, or to be ready for 1896, which is the millennial of the founding of Hungary. So up here you've got the 7 conquerors that came from Asia and founded Hungary, and so in 1896 that was 1,000 years. And then this is also the entrance into the Central Park area, or the city park, and then we've got museums on both sides. So on this side we have the Fine Arts Museum. This has got masterpieces, very, very old, well-kept masterpieces. Stays the same collection at all times. On this side we have the Art Museum, which is contemporary art, and the collection has changed out over time. So very interesting history right right here. So she was saying 1896 is a very, very important year for the country of Hungary. And the Parliament building was, meant to be finished by then. This area was meant to be finished by then. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. They had a goal. Some things made it, some didn't. But really cool area. And it's weird, like you come through the city and you see all the grand, fancy buildings down by the Danube, and then it's just like a regular city for a while, and then you get here and you see this and it's like grand again. So very, very cool. Good way to end our tour in Budapest. Behind the central monument are two wings that look like gates leading into the city park, but pictured here are the kings and the nobility and the people that were very important. You had to do something good. You had to leave a mark to get a statue here. You had to be important to the country of Hungary to be commemorated here. And the most important that they've pointed out to us throughout the day, we learned over on the Buda side, is King Matthias, which is the second one right here. He did so much for the country with the buildings and everything that he had erected during his time period. So he has a spot. And then the first one on this side is Saint Stephen, who was the first crowned Catholic king of Hungary in the year 1000. So he has the first marker on this side. In 1896, celebrating the millennium, the entire city park was set up as an expo. There were pavilions all throughout here, and this castle behind us was one of the pavilions and the only one that still stands today. The people of Hungary liked it so much they decided they wanted to keep it as a permanent structure. So that was built for the 1896 expo. And our time is up and we're heading back onto the bus, so that's a wrap for this tour. But let me tell you what these tours do, is they show you a smidge of a city, and it makes you want more. So it makes you want to come back and see more of the city, because we've been in Budapest for, I'll say 48 hours, 3 days broken into 48-ish hours. And we've done a lot. I mean, we've done 4 tours and explored on our own, and we've really done a lot here in Budapest. Budapest, sorry, I keep trying to say it correctly. And there's still so much more to see. I mean, there's museums, so many museums, so much culture here that we haven't seen, and now we're out of time. So it just makes you want to come back and stay longer and do more. Back on the bus. After 3 days in Budapest, we're finally sailing away. It's about 5:15. The ship has just been released from the docks, and we are moving out. And what's cool is you want to be up top for going through Budapest, because we're going under all these amazing bridges. And the temperature has dropped tremendously. So this morning it was cold, it was like 41. Then we got really, really hot around Buda Castle and came back and got down to flip-flops, and we're like, oh my God, it's so hot. And now we're back to jackets, gloves, hats, and a scarf. Oh, check out the scarf, by the way. So amawaterways gives you a scarf as a gift with each cruise. So when I cruised with them in November, the scarf was red and this one is blue. And it's very pretty. We're sailing past the Parliament building now. If we would have sailed just about 20-30 minutes later, we would have been here right as it all lit up. But we're getting to see it at sunset, which is absolutely beautiful, because the sunset, light from the other side, because it sets on the Buda side, is kind of reflecting off all the windows. So it's pretty. We are officially heading north. We're still in Budapest right now. We've got a couple more bridges to go under, and I'm going to show you when we go under this next bridge why these river cruise ships are the height they are, because they just make it under these bridges. Man, what a way to see a country, a city on the river like this. It's just stunning, absolutely stunning. I was so excited for this trip. So many places to see. They're handing out palinka as we sail away. I had some palinka at our food tour, just a little bitty taste of it. It is not for me, so I'm gonna take a pass on this one. I'm gonna pass, thank you. But bravery to all of those who are taking the palinka. Okay, I'm standing up on the top deck as we go under this bridge. Look how close! That's so close. Look at that. That's why these longboats are the height they are, so they can make it under all the bridges. We are getting north. This is Margaret Island. I actually remembered that. So the Margaret Island right here, the Danube kind of has a little split in it with Margaret Island in the middle, and that is what's right there behind us. Once we get past Margaret Island, we are on the very north of Budapest. It's getting a little bit dark. We're probably going to head in soon, but man, what a view up here. I enjoy this a lot. It's beautiful. Well, it is almost officially dark. It's brighter on this camera than it is in real life. And I think it's time to go inside. From 6 to 7 every night on any AmaWaterways cruise is sip and sail. So it's cocktail hour included, free of charge, complimentary, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to head down there. I just need something hot to drink because I've had this wind blowing in my face all day. So I think I just want a hot chocolate. But, you know, the booze is there if I wanted that too. Oh man, what a great day. My legs are tired. We've walked so much in the last 3 days here in Budapest, and we've got another port every single day of this river cruise, and then 2 days in Munich after that. So this is going to be a whirlwind adventure, and I've got to, you know, rest up tonight. So dinner's at 7:15. Then I'm going to bed early so we can get a good night's rest, because on board the ship, I'm here as a travel advisor, and there's a group of us, and we have a class tomorrow. So this is actually for work. And I will show you a little bit of the sip and sail and a few snippets of dinner. I'm not going to record much of dinner because we will be sitting with strangers and I don't want to make them uncomfortable. But let's head downstairs and get out of this wind. I was totally not kidding about the hot chocolate. That's good. They have an awesome machine over there that you just press the button. It'll make you any kind of coffee you want, or hot chocolate, or it'll give you hot water for tea. But man, this hot chocolate feels good after being in the wind all day. Well, that is a wrap for today. We went to Jimmy's Wine Bar for dinner tonight. It is served family style, and we were sitting with all people we did not know, so I did not vlog the dinner, but I did get a shot of each plate before we tore into it. And so we were served bread and then 3 different appetizers, a beef carpaccio, which, sorry, I just can't do the raw meat. It was 2 different salads, and then for the entrees there was a fish plate, which I did not get a shot of, and then pork, and the pork was delicious. It was like melt in your mouth pork with mashed potatoes and other vegetables. They did bring us the langos, which was okay, but I mean, we've had some really good langos here in Budapest, so you know, I ate it. It was good. And then for dessert, we had a sponge cake very similar to what I had at the Hungarian restaurant last night. So overall, a very good Hungarian meal. And I am beat. I'm taking some NyQuil and I'm going to sleep because the wind kicked my butt today and is giving me a little bit of a sore throat. Not sick, just the wind. So good night. See you tomorrow. Bye.